Alright, so after a little bit of technical difficulties, we figured out how to use the Screencast. So we're recording, we're ready to go. So what we're going to do is basically just talk about this Contraction website and how it aligns with our PTE lesson plan, which is a follow-up lesson on an intro to contractions and recognizing them as two separate entities and recognizing them as constituents in the structure of the word. And so this is just another medium that can engage students that aligns with UDL, although it's pretty heavily dependent on those who are not visually impaired. So that's one little misstep in the alignment. But all of these are to, again, supplement just getting the students a little bit more familiar with the concept of contractions, right? So in this game, it's just having us combine the structure of the word here. So they're seeing them as two separate pieces, combining them into one. And this is actually pretty similar to what we're going to be doing with our hands-on activity, which is our contraction kite, which has the words, the separate constituents apart from each other, and they'll have to use the string and the structure of the kite to form the contractions, which will also obviously get them a little bit more familiar with what they're doing. And so students on here, they have the option to play 6 different games, although I'm not sure how entirely different the games are. So there's 2 different kinds of fill-ins, one where you write the contraction itself like this, and the other where you get the contraction and then have to, okay, that's wrong, this one here. So you get the contraction and then you have to write, for instance, so this is didn't, you write did not. And students can check their work or skip one if they're not comfortable with it. Go on to the next one. Another different game that supplements everything kind of well. Probably not as good as the fill-ins because they have to recognize the words already. So maybe a build-up would be a memory match, which is more or less just revealing the backs of certain cards. So aren't, can't. So I'm going to try to look for are not to match with aren't. And so that's not it. Are not, aren't. There we go. Did not, didn't, there we go. So this is a little bit more of a base, I was lucky, a little bit more of a base rudimentary understanding of how contractions work, but it aligns pretty well because, again, it's an online format, and the way that we're going to be using this in the lesson plan, actually, is that we will be, oh, this is interesting, where does the posture go? This will be used as a warm-up. So this will be before the hands-on activity. And I think that with several teacher talks, this could be a good way to get the class into it. They'll be using their devices. They'll be engaged. They'll be getting a little bit more familiar with some of the subject matter. I think that that's very important. So let's see. With this, I think that it wants me to insert. Let's check it. All right. So, yeah, students just got to move this and find where the apostrophe goes, and that's important because, again, that's what separates the 2 words, so they'll have to recognize that. So I think that this is overall a pretty good complement to the lesson and enriching as a warm-up tool and enriching in creating a inclusive learning environment in which a lot of people can participate in this. Even we have an ELL student taken into account for, and that student will be using a translator, so that should help. And for the students who have IEPs, this will be a way to kind of mix up the class. Instead of making it straight lecture, we have this, and then also supplemented by the main activity, which again is that hands-on kite activity, which I'm sure they're going to love. So that should be about the extent of where we're going to go with this screencast for this game. Thank you for listening, and I hope this turned out well.